G'day everybody, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to put together a tiny trailer park. In Australia, trailers, what those in the US and elsewhere would call trailers, we call caravans. So we would call it a caravan park, but this is just a tiny one. There's two little caravans. We would call them up on stumps or permanently situated, and with a little shade or a little like patio or pergola off to the side. Often we would call that an annex. In this case, it looks more like a pergola, but you can see here we've tried to get that rounded shape, or I've tried to get the rounded shape of the roof to look kind of like those retro caravan shape. I left the eaves on. I could have taken them off, but I left them on because I kind of liked it. It made them look like a bit like a fusion between a caravan and a tiny little trailer. But I've also tried to, what we're working on at the back there is basically an ablutions block, because the trailers themselves or caravans often don't have toilets or showers in them. When you go away to holiday parks, they have shower blocks or toilet blocks, and that's what we've got at the back. So here you can see we're putting the little shade off to the side. Excuse my chair squeaking. That's my chair, by the way, not me. I'm not quite that old. And we've raised them up on stumps so that often in the trailer parks they put some moulding or something around the wheels, so the wheels are hidden, or the wheels aren't there and they are actually on sort of blocks. So I've tried to sort of recreate that a little bit, and I'm just putting some lights in so that I can work with them. And first of all, we're going to do trailer 1, and I've tried to make it look like they're kind of a little bit run down, and not been perhaps well looked after by whoever the landlord is, but that the residents have tried to make the best of it and make them as cheery as they can. And I've tried to sort of make it so that the beds are provided, the kitchen's provided, but the rest of the furniture is provided by the tenant. So here we are, we've got a double bed and 2 single beds. Now I have play tested this, and the Sims, I didn't want to fiddle any further. They can't actually get to the top bunk, but you can certainly pull it out or pull it down, and they should be able to use it, or you can put it on the floor, maybe for bedtime. Maybe it can be like one of those fold-away bunks where it's up there during the daytime and down on the floor when it's sleep time. And I've kind of gone for, you can see the dining table there, all of the chairs are mismatched, so they look like they've come from somewhere else. The cupboard that the TV's on is kind of dented and a bit bashed. The side tables for the double bed are not matching. One of them's in fact a crate rather than an actual bedside table. And you can see we've taken, put some holes in the walls and some, tears in the wallpaper or the paint, just to make it look like they've been a bit battered about. But lots of items in here sort of indicate that whoever the residents are, they care about their home. They're trying to make the best of it. They might be a little bit down on their luck, but they've certainly tried to dress the place up and make it homey for themselves while they live there. Now, just bear in mind that 2 separate families can't live here. You would need to have a blended family that they actually invite into your household, or members of the same family sleeping in different places. I've kind of, the blurb, I've said it's perfect for blended families or for perhaps teens who want to branch out on their own. Might be a bit of a house sharing situation, where, you know, people go and rent something that's fairly low quality just because it's within their budget. And here I've tried to put a little bit of seating and make the little outside area a little bit interesting. And now we're on to the Ablutions Block, and what I've given you is 2 toilets and 3 showers. So they're pretty much identical. There's, again, they're clean, but it looks like they haven't been particularly well maintained by whoever the landlord is, because there's, you know, a lot of water stains and a few tears and some dents and bumps out of the walls. So I quite like the way this came up. There's a holiday park that we often go and stay with our family, and the toilet block is just concrete Besser blocks. It's not even not even painted or anything on the inside, and it very much reminds me of this. There's the showers and little cubicles there aren't painted. They're just really cold and really bare. So now we've moved on to trailer 2, and again we've sort of made it look like the beds and the kitchen area are provided, but the rest of the furniture has been provided by the tenant or tenants, whoever's living there or sharing a house. And again we've put the bunk beds in, play tested, and again they couldn't use that top bunk, but again you could perhaps bring it down at bedtime, or just ignore it totally, do you know what I mean, and put a few more decorator items on it to make it look like it's being used as extra storage perhaps. And we've put some little towels on the end of the bed there, and we put some shirts on the end of the double bed, and I've tried to make them a little bit different in the interior. I haven't tried to make them too much the same. There's some shelving up in this one which we put some little toys on in a minute. Again, we've got different bedside tables, so it's all a bunch of hodgepodge, you know, perhaps thrift stores or second-hand stores, or as we might say here, we've gone to the Good Sammy's and picked up some stuff, which is the Good Samaritan store. Although they are getting a little bit expensive these days. I thought that was a toy, but no, turns out it was a playground equipment. And again, we've gone for a couple of chairs here, mismatched, and another little table with the TV on it. Oh, my apologies, that was my phone. Again, the mismatched chairs that people have perhaps picked up in a roadside collection or got from the second-hand store. But they've tried to brighten this house up. Lots of colourful, fun posters on the walls and some paintings, and made the place a little bit homey and, you know, and welcoming. Just sort of a place that's a family home, or at least one that's, you know, homey for the residents. And that's a disgusting colour green, honestly. If my fridge or my stove was that colour, I would call in some industrial cleaners immediately. And I'm just looking for, you know, interesting things to put on the walls without making it too expensive. Most of the items used are base game, not from expansions, but there is the odd one or two things, so my apologies, but it's all replaceable. There's nothing that's vital that you can't replace with something from the base game if you don't have any of the stuff packs or the expansions. And here I'm setting up a little barbecue area. It's a sort of area that you could socialise with. A lot of the holiday parks do have these sorts of areas, and a very basic little playground for the kiddies, which in this case is just a set of monkey bars. And trailer 2, we're just putting some plants on the patio, and now we're sort of dressing up the yard itself, making it look like, at least if the landlord hasn't, you know, taken too good care of it, at least, you know, they've tried to pretty it up and tried to make the place a home rather than just a, you know, a flop house or whatever. So making the gardens a little bit inviting, of course, the rocks and a few wildflowers and some, pretty them up a bit. And we do a little bit of terrain painting in a minute. Obviously some garden lights first off to light the area outside at night time. If you're going to be using it, obviously you want to be able to see your way around and not trip over bits and pieces in the night. And here's a bit of terrain painting, sort of covered the obvious walkways that people might use and around under the plants and the rocks to give them that more realistic and 3D effect. So terrain painting is really critical if you want your builds to look really realistic. I can't stress it enough. A few hedges and a bit of lights around the ablution block, and just closing that little playground in a little bit, just so that it makes it look a little bit more secure, a little bit more part of it. And the roof of the ablution block looks like cement, and I've put some vents and then some air conditioners on the roofs of the vans themselves, so that, little place might look a bit hot. And we're headed into the screenshots here. This is our tiny trailer park from the street, and this is from the back looking over the kids playground area. This is trailer 2, and this is trailer 1. Hope I got them in the right order there. This is the little barbecue area. This is the Ablutions block. You can see it looks quite tidy from the outside, but very plain. This is how it ended up looking on the inside. A little sign there to tell you how to work the hot and cold water. This is trailer 2 with the green fridge, and this is trailer 1 with the beige fridges. And this is our floor plan. If you liked it, do leave a like, share, have a good day.